I hope I'm live. Am I? Not too sure. Try to do it live via my computer and for some reason just cut off. So here I'm trying to do a live. So let's start this. Tell me if you all are.
Impotency is no more a threat. Age is just a number, so don't forget. Once Dr. Raj is around, there is no going down. Even the dead, he will resurrect. The old is come back young, it's pound for pound. Dr. Raj is the man with the program. Enjoy your life once more, like never before. Dr. Raj is vision. Death senses come alive. Repair your glands like new. You will do the things you thought you couldn't do. Get your sex life back and a brand new start. Dr. Raj is the man for that. Dr. Raj, he is the man. Dr. Raj, he have the plan. Dr. Raj is the man for you and you and you. Dr. Raj, he is the man. Dr. Raj, he have the plan. Dr. Raj will make your dreams come true. No, I can run a three-legged race by myself. And if you want to stand at attention like a Saj, check Dr. Raj. Crazy, crazy.
Well, of course, for those of you who don't know that, so famous Calypsonian Crazy, who has done that rendition for me. He decided to do that on his own, so I'm very happy to see people like it. I know a lot of people have heard it before while I was live on radio. This is not radio, this is live on Facebook, and I'm trying something new now. Because of COVID-19, we haven't had a live program on radio since March. I know a lot of you are locked down at home. A lot of you have been trying to reach out to me via my WhatsApp number, asking questions and whatnot. And I decided to do something tonight simply because I'm bored. I come home, I have my dinner, I look at news, and then I go and watch a movie and then go to sleep. I have kind of lost it. I don't know how to wake up late anymore. I'm sure that has happened to some of you. I don't know. I don't have the zeal or the drive to do certain things. Like, for example, stay up late or to hang out. Well, I don't hang out anymore. So I know that has happened to a lot of people. But for those of you who don't know who I am, and I know there are lots of individuals out there who don't know who I am. So let's start with that. Good evening to all my family who is watching. I have some family overseas in Quebec. I see Anne is on. I see my nephew Leo is on. And some others. I think Amit is on and Sachin. So good evening to everyone. Good evening to my friends who know who I am and who have been supporting me for all these years. Good evening to my clients and supporters. I appreciate what you all have done for me over the years and you continue to do for me. Good evening to all the persons who used to listen to Sexplosion and all the programs that we had before. And good evening to all the persons who don't even know who I am, but just decided out of curiosity to take in the program. Now, I know some of you like this shirt, of course. We lost today, but that's no big deal. It's the beginning of the IPL, so we usually lose the first 3-4 games, and then we start winning. That's how we are. Can't help it. But Pollard did very well, and, well, of course, we can't stop talking about Nicholas Puran and that wonderful save on the boundary. Unbelievable save. But let's not talk cricket. Let's talk about what I do. Who is Dr. Raj? Well, first of all, today a young lady came to do an interview. And she asked me, she said, what made you get into this business? And I was like, what business? She said, well, with all the things that I'm seeing around, what make you decide to do this? Well, the journey has been a very long journey. It was a dream that I had when I was a young man. Not even a young man, pre-teenager. I was around 11 years of age when I decided that I wanted to do something related to sex. I didn't know what it was. I had no idea. But I remember exactly where I was standing. I was standing at the back of our home, which would be the southeastern corner of our home. There was a table with a sink next to it, and I was leaning on the table, and this brilliant idea came into my head that I wanted to do something with sex. I had no idea what I wanted to do. All I knew, it had to do with sex. And at the same time, I also thought about, I wanted to have the best gym in Trinidad and Tobago and create the best bodybuilders. So here I was going through high school, but studying this on the side because you can't tell anybody you're studying sex. They'll say you're mad. And throughout my entire life at high school, that's what I did. When I went to study for my first degree, which is in accounting, I also studied sex as a sideline. Now, one will ask, how do you study sex? There are many ways to study sex. You can take it from a biological point. You can take it from a hands-on way. You can look at it from a holistic manner, a philosophical way. You can even look at it from a spiritual way. And I decided to encompass every single aspect of sex, sexuality, and behavior, touching on every single aspect that it has out there. So how do you go about getting information on these things when there's no program, there's no degree, there's nothing geared towards sex studies and sex education? What I did is I started to do a lot of research at the libraries. The library at our school, which was Northeastern College in Sagre Grande, I started to do work there and find little things to read. There wasn't much to do. Then the public library in Sagre Grande on Briley Street, there was an adult section, and I had a lot of friends who were much older than I was, and they used to go there and get stuff for me to read. And I read and read and read. And I actually did most of the things that I needed to do to gear myself for the study of sex and sexuality and sexual behavior. But that wasn't all. I started to write programs while I was at high school for persons who had premature ejaculation to help them to last longer. And I started to sell things of a sexual nature while I was at high school. So I started my sex business when I was in high school. I started my career when I was in high school because I thought I needed to have a grounding in this thing and develop myself. Now, why am I repeating this? Those of you who know me would know my history and you know my background. But there are lots of individuals out there who don't know the bits and pieces of Dr. Raj. Before I was Dr. Raj, I was just simply Raj. Raj is a shortening of my name, Giri Raj. So everyone will call me Raj, except those who I went to high school with will call me by my proper name, which was Giri or Giri Raj. So after leaving high school, which to me was a breeze, high school was all about having a good time and enjoying life. I didn't take high school on seriously because I really didn't think I needed to. And that's the God honest truth. And after I left high school, I saw the disappointment in my mother's face. And I immediately went and signed up to write what you will call London exams. I wrote my London, I got my passage, I gave it to her. I went to the United States to visit my aunt, and I passed by this university, and I decided to go and do the entrance exam. I did the entrance exam, I aced it, and I was accepted to do my first degree, which is in accounting. But I didn't have my certificate, which is your graduation certificate from high school, because I never even went to my graduation. So at 17 years of age, I'm accepted at university to do a degree in accounting. Now, I did sciences in high school, so don't ask me why I'm doing accounting now. So it's all a messed up thing. You know, sometimes you're misguided, and sometimes you tell yourself, I'm going to do sciences because everybody's doing sciences and it's the in thing to do. But I never really liked sciences. The only thing I liked was biology, maybe some chemistry, but that was it. I didn't like physics at all. Not at all. Still don't. So I went into university. They told me, well, you accepted, but you have to present your graduation certificate, what you call a GED, before I can be accepted fully. So I came back to Trinidad and I went meek and humble to my teacher, my form mistress. I have to say meek and humble because I gave her a hell of a time. And I asked her, I said, Miss Baksh, do you have my graduation certificate by chance? She said, Giri, I know one day you will need it, so I kept it for you. And she gave it to me. And I said, aha. She asked me why. I told her, I said, I got accepted to university, and she just looked at me and smiled. Because here I was, all the students that I went to school with were repeating. Some of them were going on to do A's, and here I am entering university. after playing the arts in high school. So I went back to the university and I started. It was a 4-year degree and I did it in 2.5 years, 2 years, 9 months. And I completed it, and I decided to continue my studies in sex and sex education and develop myself and see how well I can, how great or how good I could be in studying sex and doing something about it. But I always told my friends and those who I went to school with that I was going back to Trinidad to establish a business in Trinidad and to be a Trinidadian. They didn't believe me because everyone who was going to the United States at that time wanted to stay in the United States. I did not. Although it was easy, it was very easy to get your green card at that time. I had friends who were getting married to students who they were going to school with just to get a green card and whatnot. And they would ask me, Raj, you don't want to do this? I said, no, I don't want to do this. I'm going back home. Even one of my cousins did it and he stayed there. Other friends that I went to school with, they all stayed there, but I didn't do that. I got my education and came back home. My aim was to marry my childhood sweetheart, which is my wife now. She was my girlfriend from high school, and I always promised myself I'll marry her. And I even promised her that at a very tender age of 11 years of age. And like I said, the rest is history. We have 2 beautiful children. We still have a great relationship. I think we have a fantastic relationship. I cannot see my life without her, and I cannot see being successful without her. All my success, it's because of what my wife has done for me, with me, together with me. She has been my backbone, my strength, my everything. My children also, even my parents. You know, one day my mother told me, she said, don't think I don't know what you're doing, you know. And I was like, Momsy, I call her Momsy. Momsy, what you talking about? She said, I know you, you know. You are doing the things you say you study, you know. You're doing something different. And she was right. I was selling toys out of the trunk of my car. I had a gym. I told you that was one of my dreams. So I had a gym, and the gym was the most successful gym in Trinidad. We won every competition in the world, not in the Caribbean, in the world. I created some of the best bodybuilders in the country they have ever seen, or ever heard of. And we went on to win competition all over. I trained members of the strike squad, national cricketers, cyclists, boxers, sportsmen and women, and of course bodybuilders, men and women. So that was a short stint that I did. And in 1992, I decided to go a bit public with the sex business and the sex things that I was doing. And the first sex shop I opened was on Arapita Avenue. Now, for those of you who know Arapita Avenue, it's called the Avenue now. At that time, it was not the Avenue. It was just simply Arapita Avenue. And the first sex shop that was open in Trinidad was open on the corner Lewis Street and Arapita Avenue. Upstairs, Ramba and Drugs. That's where I started. And it was taking a chance. Here I went from selling sex stuff out of the trunk of my car, being involved in bodybuilding and whatnot in my gym, to going to do this type of business in your face kind of manner, having a store. I was warned by a lot of friends, don't do it. But I had 2 friends who are more than friends to me. They're my brothers. And they were like, Raj, if you're doing this, we're all behind you. I had other friends who supported me, and I had a lot of friends who tried to discourage me. I must say thanks to one guy, Alfred Lusang. I always have to thank, I never thanked him before. But my good friend Alfred Lusang was one guy who actually gave me that spot upstairs, Rambaran Drugs on Arapita Avenue to open the first sex shop. And he supported me 100%. Another friend, Christian Torrey, and others. So I developed along those lines and decided that, hey, I would continue doing this and develop this into a business, because that was my forte. I wanted to do a business that deals with sex in a holistic manner, treating people with sexual dysfunction, because I was studying that. I did not have my master's nor my PhD at that time. I only had my first degree, but I was working on those things. I wanted to have a PhD for the simple reason that if you want to do something, you got to do it right. And the only way I could have done it right was to have some letters after my name. Not only being Raj, the sexologist, but wanted to be someone who would be recognized as qualified with a PhD. So you have the doctor before your name. That was one of the reasons. And two, I wanted to do in-depth study in all the areas of sex, as I told you before, the physical, mental, biological, spiritual, every aspect of sex. And the only way I could have done that was actually doing an advanced degree, a postgraduate degree, and doing in-depth studies in sex, gender, and sexuality. And I got a university out of the United Kingdom that offered that. And I was doing my studies on the side while still creating my business and developing my business. So the business was being developed on Arapita Avenue. From Arapita Avenue, we moved to Tragreet Road. And from Tragreet Road, we went to Bengal Street in St. James. That was during the 20th century. So from 1992 to 2000, we were in those areas. 2000 was when we actually moved to Bengal Street. And midway between 2000 and 2001, we moved from Bengal Street to St. Augustine, where I was living at the time I converted it into a business. So the business started on Arapita Avenue, and it is where it is now on 10 Carmody Street in St. Augustine. But what's the business about? First of all, it is a clinic. The clinic that I have is a clinic that deals with all sexual dysfunction among male, female, and couples. Gender issue. Persons who have personal problems and they don't know how to overcome it. Anything to do with your sexual behavior, your gender, the way you see things, medical things that are associated with sexual dysfunction, I treat that also. Not the medical part, the sexual dysfunction part. I work very closely with a lot of doctors. A lot of doctors send referrals to me. You may not believe this, but I get a lot of referrals from doctors also. When they cannot handle a specific case, they will send that person to me because they recognize what I do and they know the strength of what I do because they have seen my success. They know my success. My success is there for them to examine. I remember when I first started off on radio, and I think an interview was done with me, and I had on a white shirt, jack or something, and somebody, a famous doctor, made a comment that not everyone in a white outfit is a doctor. And it wasn't deliberate that I wore that outfit, and I say, he's throwing that at me. I never responded to him. But my saving grace was the day he actually referred one of his clients to me. I still have that prescription that you wrote. And we became friends afterwards. And he even asked me, he wanted to help me publish some things based on the studies that I've done. I have a very good friend, Dr. Srishava, who actually took some of my information and made a presentation of it. And at the end of the presentation, he had to tell all the doctors gathered here, this is not my work, this is Dr. Raj's work. And the doctors who were sitting at my table, I was sitting at their table, I should say, because I was an invited guest, they turned to me and said, are you Dr. Raj? One guy knew me and he said, this is Dr. Raj. And they were like, wow, you actually did all that research? And I was like, yes, those are the research that I do. So I deal with individuals who have high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, anything that is associated with sexual dysfunction among males, attributed to a medical condition. Sometimes it may be mental, physical, emotional, religious, spiritual. If you believe somebody put a curse on you, believe me, you're not going to function sexually. You know. That is a given. So over the period of time, I was establishing my clinic. And the clinic is called the Adult Therapy Clinic. It is all part of the Total Image Group. And the main clinic is in St. Augustine. Now we have clinic in Debe, Princestown, Chaguanas. We have stores in all those areas also. We have 7 stores. I'll talk about the stores later on. But the stores was also an important and integral part of my business, and I'll tell you why. I recognized from a very early age that sex is not only about 2 persons getting together and having intercourse. It was much more than that. persons needed to interact in a different way. They needed to get things to spice up their life. They needed to touch their partner in a different way. They needed to be visually stimulated, orally stimulated. They must hear things, they must see things, they must smell things, they must touch things. And that's where the business came into being. Toys are a very important part of one's sexual development, especially those, especially those who want to explore different areas and different avenues. And I'll give you an example. Many a times persons want to explore their sexuality and their sexual behavior based on something they have seen, or they may have read something in a book. That's where it starts. Something you read, something you've seen, something you've heard, and you want to try it out. You want to get to someone who you can trust. And that's another thing. My integrity is the one thing that I stand very proudly on. My integrity. People trust me. They trust me with their dirty, dark secrets. And I can tell you something. I keep their dirty, dark secrets. I don't share it with anyone. Not even my wife. She knows everything that I does because I tell her. She doesn't want any detail. I will tell her what I'm doing. I'll tell her if I'm involved in something in the morning. If I have something to do in the afternoon, she knows about it, but she don't want any detail. And I don't have to come home and give her any details. That's why I tell you all my success is based on my wife. She is the one who can support me in everything that I do very strongly. So, because of that, there are persons who like bondage. There are persons who like spanking. They like to be disciplined. There are persons who like to experience something different, maybe same-sex sort of situation, orgy. During this lockdown, you know what I found? A lot of women are coming to me via Facebook, WhatsApp, or whatever, and saying, I want to get involved in a threesome. I want to get involved by having somebody make love to me and my partner looking. I want to get involved in a gangbang. And the amazing thing about it is that whatever persons wish for, I can make it happen. You know, I'll tell you something that is very, very interesting to me. If somebody comes today and says, I want to have sex with a 57-year-old woman who is overweight, I'll say, okay, give me a couple of days. And strange enough, within 2 or 3 days, somebody who's 57 years of age and overweight will be contacting me and tell me, I would like to experience something of a sexual nature with somebody. Can you arrange it for me? I don't know why it happens like that. How come it happens like that? But it always does. I guess it's the universe. You put something out there and it comes to you. Like recently, over the last month, there were a lot of women who wanted gangbang. And there were a lot of guys who wanted to get involved in it. And I had a listing of guys, and I have all these women who want to do it. As a matter of fact, we have bookings for the next 3 weeks for gangbangs. But I'm not here to tell you about those things in detail, but what I'm here to tell you is that Dr. Raj does all these things. And I'm not ashamed of it. I make no apologies for it. As a matter of fact, I'm very proud of the fact that I can get things done. Okay, so the clinic deals with everything that you can think about sexually. It's not only a clinic to deal with sexual dysfunction among men, women, and couple. It is also a place that you can come and talk about the things that you want to experience, the things that are going to spice up your life, the things that are going to make you better sexually. Also, one of the things that we do, we actually do sex therapy. Because I am a sex therapist who is also a sexologist, or a sexologist who is also a sex therapist. So we do a lot of sexual therapy. The sexual therapy has to do with what the person wants. It's never about me. It is never about me. I don't ever make it about me. When a client comes to me and asks for something specific, I try to make sure that person gets what they want, not what I want, because it's never about me. And that has made me successful. When persons ask for something, I try my best to get it done for them. So that's the sex therapy part of the business. And like I say, my wife works right outside my door. She knows 90% of the things I'm doing. She just don't want any detail. The 10% detail, she don't want to know that. She don't even want to know who it's done with. She has never asked those questions. But the good thing about it is my support staff. My support staff are fantastic. They've been trained by me. My support staff are the ones who know exactly what to do. They've been trained in certain areas. They know how to get things done. Those who do massages, for example, know the type of massage. I do personal training. I train all my masseuses. And I train them with all the things that they need to do, even when it comes to things of a personal nature with couples or with single individuals. Some of the names that you have seen concerning massages, my cat is right to the side here and another one is over there. Some of the things that you have seen advertised, like body-to-body massage and forehand massage and fantasy massage, I created those names 30 years ago. When I started advertising about those things in the newspaper, there were only 3 of us advertising. First, it was Adam and Eve, then me, and then a woman by the name of Pat Khan. We were the only 3 persons advertising in the personal. And I was training individuals to do these different type of massages. Now, when you look at the personal column in the newspaper, you'll see it is 3 and 4 columns, sometimes 3 and 4 pages. So it says a lot. It says that all the things that I have done over the years, successful, because persons are trying to piggyback on everything that I do. The sincerest form of flattery is when someone tries to imitate you. And people try to imitate me all the time. People pretend they're Dr. Raj. People like to say that they have a clinic dealing with sex therapy and whatnot because they want to do what Dr. Raj is doing. But that's okay. Those of you who have gone to those places know what is true and what is false. Because I'll say 90% of you all come back to Dr. Raj, the Adult Therapy Center, Total Image. You come back to me. And I've heard it many, many times. But I don't hold it against anyone because I know human nature. I understand how people behave. I understand the way people think. Good evening, Jose. How are you? I understand the way people think. I understand why people do things. And I don't hold things against individuals. I just tell them as it is. I say, you put the cart before the horse, but that's okay. I will now put the horse before the cart and fix you. Because my job is to fix persons. I have a wonderful track record. I use that word wonderful again, but I've been using it all night. Let me get away from that word. I have a fantastic track record. My track record and my percentage of success is 94.6%. I treat premature ejaculation, erectile dysfunction, penis enhancement, women who cannot have orgasm, women who need penetration, who have difficulty with penetration, men who have the inability to sustain erection, all these different things. Anything you could think about sexually, some of the things are not even coming to mind. Women who want to experience spanking, guys who want to experience it, guys who want to give, guys who want to receive, women who want to receive, women who want to give. I put things together because I listen to what people want. And because of that, the success of the business is because of that. And I can tell you something. I have been in this business for, let's say, how long? About maybe 40 years of my life, 40 plus years of my life. And no one has ever heard me in any controversy. No one has ever heard my name in anything negative when it comes to sex and sexual behavior and sexuality. You will hear my name when it comes to fighting customs for the rights for you to buy a sex toy. You will hear my name when it comes to challenging TAT about my radio program. You will hear my name when it comes to challenging something in law, but you will not see me or hear me in anything that is controversial. No one could ever come and say Dr. Raj has betrayed my trust. He has shown someone a photograph that he's not supposed to show, because people do share photographs and whatnot with me. You'll never hear anyone saying that Dr. Raj is someone that you cannot trust. And that is the most important part of this guy likes sniffing eye armpit. It turns him on. Women armpit have pheromones. Don't you know that? Let him sniff. He gets turned on by it. So There are so many things and so many aspects to what I do. I used to own most of the adult stores 15 years ago. I sold them out. I got rid of it. And because people were piggybacking on me and taking advantage of my name and telling individuals that the stores that were operated were my stores and I wasn't getting any royalties out of it, I decided in September 2018 to reopen all the stores. And now I have 6 stores. I plan to have 10 by the end of next year and 2 in Tobago, so that will be 12. So we have stores now in Debe, Princestown, Chaguanas, St. Augustine, Port of Spain, Grand Bazaar, which is Bamboo number 3 actually, and Sangre Grande. And very soon there'll be others popping up, but not as yet. We're still working on those. So we are looking at all these different avenues and all these different things that we have to do. We will eventually get there with the acceptance of the business, what it is about, how fantastic it is, all the different aspects of it. We are going to have it, and we are going to be the pioneer that I want to be, and we are going to be successful not only for myself, but for everyone who's involved, because I have investors also. I have persons who believe in me and they invest in me. They invest in the business. And the investors get a very good return on their money. So that is something that is also a positive for a lot of people who wants to do that. Apart from the clinic, we have the massage parlor. The massage parlor deals with persons who want to get massages, who wants to feel good about themselves, who want to actually experience what a good massage is all about. So we have massage parlor. We have, and again, at the massage parlor, you could get anything done. Just get in touch with me. And I know a lot of you get in touch with me by 740-1961. You can call me, you can text me. Best thing to do is WhatsApp me. I respond better with WhatsApp. Why? Because with WhatsApp, I'm able to actually respond, if not right away, later on, because it's saved. Sometimes text messages and things get pushed to the side, messages on Facebook and whatnot. But by WhatsApp, I always respond to WhatsApp. So that's a positive. What else? We have the stores. We have the adult therapy center. Well, for those of you who know me, excuse me, you'll know I've been on the air for 20 years. I started Sexplosion in 2000 on Power 102. This would have been our 20th year. Sexplosion is a very popular program for those who know it. Those who don't know it will find out about it somehow or the other. And Sexplosion has a following. Then I did programs on television for 3 to 5 years. I did television, Synergy, CNC3, TV6, you name it. I've been on television. I've been on all the stations. I've been on a lot of radio stations, 103.1 FM, 94.1 FM, 102.7, some of the AM channels. So I've had my stint with media. I love media. I like having questions asked of me and responding to questions. I like the interplay and I like the interaction. So those are the things that I actually enjoy. I enjoy doing those things. But again, sometimes it's challenging when you're doing those things because of time factor. Running a clinic, dealing with my clients, dealing with individuals, having a staff of over 30-something persons, a family life, everything I deal with, and I try to give it a chunk of me and my friends who are very important to me, family and friends. So with the lockdown, I got a bit lazy, laid back, didn't have the verve, the excitement to do the things that I wanted to do. And I just let it slide. But here I am, back out, deciding to, I want to give this a go again. I know there are lots of individuals who would like me to continue from where I left off. I'm not going to cut off now. I'm just going to simply move this instrument to another place so that I can get something better. So please bear with me while I move it. This is going to be challenging, but it's going to be done. Let's see. It's going to flip to the side and then come back straight. So don't worry. Right. Ooh. Actually got this to work. Can't believe this. Much better. I think so. I hope so. So, that's what I wanted to do. Beautiful. Is it better for you all? I hope it's so. Now, I know a lot of you follow me on Facebook. And recently I posted something which is very interesting. Because, why is it interesting? It was some words that I picked up from a friend of mine. And that friend, here we go. Just give me a few seconds here. I got to find it. Because it's important that I read it. Where is it? I want to read it word for word, and the reason for that is because of the intensity of it, the truthfulness in the words, and if I don't find it, I will ad-lib as we go along, because it's something that touches a lot of us. You know, person thinks something about sex. I haven't found it yet, but I'll ad-lib as we go along. We think about sex. We want to have sex. But is sex what we're craving? Is sex the main issue, or is it something else? And I'll tell you something. Sex is not the only thing that we're craving. We crave intimacy. We crave that touch. We crave wanting someone to hold us, wanting someone to say, I love you. I care for you. I think about you. You make me happy. You are the one who actually enriched my life. And how many times we find the time to do that? Do we do it? Do we actually reach out to our loved ones on a daily basis, as often as we can, to simply say to that person, hey, I actually love you, love being with you. Oh, somebody asked if the stores are legal. I have been in business for 25 years. What do you think? What do you think? It is legal. You just have to know how to do it. And don't go try opening a shop because Dr. Raj have one. You might have a lot of issues to deal with. I have dealt with all the issues. That's why a young lady, all her toys were seized recently, and she got in touch with me and said, Dr. Raj, I know you're always fighting customs, and tell me how to get through with my toys. I say, call my lawyer. Pay my lawyer and get them to do it. I'm not going to tell you how I do it. And there's a reason for that. I have spent a lot of money. I have fought a lot of battles, and no one has ever come to my aid and say, here, Dr. Raj. Well, I shouldn't say no one. There are a few persons who have done it. Oh, excuse me. Who have come to my aid. Who have assisted me financially to fight my battles. So I can say, yes, there are persons who have done that. You see, technology, I mess with something and that you're telling me, here, what? You don't do that. Don't go doing that. We're going to punish you. So if it's trembling a bit, there's a reason for that. I'm trying to get it not to tremble So I've had persons who have helped me in those areas, and that's a positive. And I must say thank you to those individuals. Still looking for this thing. But let's get back to the intimacy issue. How many times we are in a relationship with our spouse and we simply don't take the time to touch the person and say, I love you, or I care for you, or I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Reassure the person. You see, intimacy is not only sexual. It is also a time when you can express your feelings to that person, to let that person know how special they are to you. Sometimes we take it for granted that our husband or our wives would always be there, but that's not so. There's no guarantee that the person who you're sleeping with, you'll wake up with that person in the morning, and there's no guarantee of that. But what would be nice is for you to tell that person that they're special, they're number one, they're the most important thing to you, they're the most important element in your life. And some persons mix up saying those things with what is expected, what the person expects of them. And I'll explain that to you. Person thinks that if you say something like that, you must be totally devoted to the person. No. Blind devotion is not appreciation and love. Blind devotion is not devotion and love. It is not appreciation. If you want your spouse or your partner to be blindly devoted to you, you're not a deity. You're not somebody on a cross. You're not somebody who you worship. That kind of epitomizes what blind devotion is about, when somebody have devotion towards God. But when you have love and appreciation for someone, it is the little things that you do, the little things that you say, the moments that you have with the individual, that is what counts. Those are the important factors for you to understand, or the person to understand you. So I know a lot of person has reposted what I posted, and I'm very happy that they have done that, because it shows there was a huge interest in whatever I put out there. And that's a good thing. Once people have interest in things that I'm doing, I'm happy for that. Still can't find it. So many things I have on my phone, it's unbelievable. But I will. Before the end of the night, I think somebody will send it to me too, if I don't find it. Somebody out there who's a good friend of mine would send it to me. Ah, here it is. Is this it? No, that's not it, Raj. Sometimes I do talk to myself, you know. Okay, let me read it for you. We think we want sex. It's not always about sex. It is intimacy we want. To be touched, looked at, admired, smiled at, laugh with someone. Feel safe. Feel like someone really got you. That's what we crave. And that is so true. Even someone like me, I like to know that I'm appreciated, that somebody will look at me in that special way and smile. The touch of someone, the feelings, the things that goes with it, the nice little message that you may get. All these things, I think, even being in media, being a sexologist, dealing with thousands of clients, I still want those things. Why? I'm a very loving person. I'm a very caring person, and I'm a person who likes to interact with a lot of people. And I enjoy the company of individuals. I enjoy being with my friend, and we're talking and ragging up one another and talking a lot of crap. And at the end of the day, when we're saying goodbye to one another, I feel that sense of nostalgia, that sadness that the person is going home. But at the same time, you had a wonderful time with the person or persons. I'm talking about my two best friends. You know, we sometimes, I just want to hear their voice. So we'll pick up the phone and call, how are you going, boy? And, you know, I always wonder why my father used to call his best friend Mr. He never called him by his name. He used to call him Mr. and his last name. And I always wonder why my father would be calling his best friend, his closest friend, his most trustworthy friend, Mr. And now I find myself doing the same thing with my two most trusted friends. I call him Mr. So-and-so. It is respect and love that I do it with. It is, thank you, Stephanie, but I got it. See, I told you somebody will send it to me. And I understand now why my father did that. You know, my father and I, we never got along when I was a teenager. I always thought we couldn't mesh. Now we get along wonderfully, beautifully. Best father and son relationship we could have. But I admire my father. I really admire my father. My father has done some of the most fantastic things ever that you could ever think about. So, somebody said they sent it on WhatsApp also. I can't access my WhatsApp because I was told to use my computer to go live for this broadcast and I would be linked instantly to Instagram. Unfortunately, my computer refused to do a Facebook Live. So I had to switch quickly to my cell phone to get this Facebook Live going. See the things I have to do at times? To get this Facebook Live going and to, so I know Instagram is not on because for some reason it's not linked through my cell phone. But I'll get over that and I plan to do much more live shows. One of the things I want from you all as you are interacting with me, and it's giving me it gives me energy when you all do that. Eh? When persons interact with you while you're on the air, it gives the host of the program energy to go on, energy to talk about things. It also helps you to think about things differently because, hi Yvonne, how are you? Because what it does, it opens up your mind when persons are sending things to you. So, you all are here. You don't WhatsApp me, please. Don't send anything via WhatsApp. I'll see all the WhatsApp messages afterwards. But while I'm on the program, you can send your messages here. It's not going to be saved because the Facebook Live will be saved to go on again later on somewhere else, linked to my YouTube channel or whatever. I'm not into the social media stuff. I have a person who's in charge of that, and she will be doing that. So right now, it's just to have fun. It's answer questions, to deal with things. But we were talking about the whole issue of sex and intimacy and wanting that feeling of belonging. We all like to feel we're important, you know, and we are all important. We're important to someone. You may be important to your child. You may be important to your best friend. You may be important as an employee to your boss. You may be important to your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, to your husband, to your wife. You are important. Don't ever let anyone tell you you're not important. So, having said that, what are you doing? What are you doing to ensure that you live up to your importance? That person that you're important to, do you pick up the phone and call that person and say, hey, thinking about you, love you? Do you end your conversation with your parents, your loved ones, I love you? It might be the last opportunity you have to tell that person you love them. I don't care who's wrong. If I see my mother and father, I'll bow to their feet. If I see my godfather, I'll bow to his feet. Well, he's no longer alive, but I'll bow to any guru feet. Because that's the love and respect I have for them. And it's my way of showing appreciation and letting them know that, hey, I appreciate you for who you are. I have conversation with my grandson. Well, he don't speak to me. It's a one-way conversation. He's not even 2 years yet. My son, my daughter, and it's always, I love you. My mother, my father, I love you. Because it's important to say these things. My brothers, my sisters, I love you. That is where the sense of appreciation comes in. And you need to do that. You need to do that with your spouse tonight. You need to do that with your loved one tonight. You need to reach out and let that person know how important they are to you. That this person that you hold special is special to you. And they must know that. They must know how special they are to you. It doesn't matter what others may think. It is what you feel and what you think. That is what is special. Hi, Stephen. How are you? So that's one of the issues that needs to be addressed, because even the individuals who are coming for specialty things, and we call it specialty items, for example, spanking, they want not only the spanking, but the caress that goes with the spanking, because spanking is not only spanking. Those who like bondage, shibari, tying up, they want to be caressed and they want to be touched. They want that. Why do they want it? They don't only want the pain that is associated with that. We're not talking about sex here, we're talking about pain. But they also want the pleasure that goes with it, with the sense of belonging and the sense of appreciation, to have someone hold them and say, well, here what? This person is not only punishing me, but he's loving me. He is showing me a sense of love. He's showing me that I am someone special. So that's very important to note. Now, as I said, tonight's program is just a test. Why is it just a test? Because I want to start doing more of these, more live programs, and later on have it linked with Instagram and other things, and have you ask questions, answer those questions. It's all about you, you know. One of the things I've learned, and I learned this from a very well-educated educator, I learned it from a well-educated educator, is that knowledge multiplies when you divide. When you share knowledge, it multiplies tenfold with those you have shared it with, but you have divided it. You have taken it from me and shared it. So when you share knowledge, it multiplies. And knowledge is very important. When you have knowledge, you know what to do. You know how to act. You know how to behave in certain circumstances. You know how to interact. You know what to say, what not to say. Knowledge, you know, my grandfather never see a school door. His schooling was in the Cocoa Estate. And he always said, get your education, learn things, because what you have in your brain, nobody can take it from you unless they kill you. That was his simple way of telling you to learn, 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 and learn. Another educator who I grew up with, Mr. Descent, who used to visit our home regularly, he would say, if you see a piece of paper blowing on the side of the road, pick it up. On that piece of paper may have a bit of information that will be useful to you. Read it, then throw it in the bin. And that was so true. You may pick up a piece of paper that have a piece of information that you need for your betterment, and another person might consider that to be scrap and crap and throw it away. So somebody said that there's a fear of intimacy. Not somebody, a few persons have said that. Yes, there's a fear of intimacy because we are fearful that if we give, we wouldn't receive. We are fearful that if we share, we will share out all our love and we'll have none remaining. But I'll tell you something, not everyone is the same. So you may share your love and intimacy with someone and he or she may not reciprocate in the same way that you want it shared with you. But be thankful for whatever little you get. Be thankful for whatever little you get. Natasha, thank you for the countdown. I appreciate it very much. I know I only have about 5 minutes left, maybe 5 or 6 minutes left, but as I said, this is my first program of many programs to come. It may be a regular weekly thing or maybe every 2 or 3 days, I don't know, in the week. It all depends on what happens after this program and having this discussion with other individuals and whatnot. But for those who fear intimacy, you know, I use myself as an example all the time. I'm a very fun-loving, appreciative, physical person. My wife is not. If any one of you know my wife and you come near her, she don't want you to touch her. She's not the kind of person who will show you love in a physical way. She wouldn't even tell you. But she has her own way of sharing it. And I have come to appreciate that, because after years of battling it in my head that, hey, she's not like me and she doesn't do these things, but she's her own individual. And the way she shows her love for me is something that another person would not do. And having seen that and having appreciated that, I will want it no other way. Because to me, it is perfect. Think about it. I am a sexologist and a sex therapist with the freedom to do anything I want to do, within reason. With the blessing of my wife, my family, my mother, my father, my children, my guru, and others. How fortunate am I? How many persons can say that out there, that they have the blessing of their wife to do things of a sexual nature? And I do things of a sexual nature, as you all know. Interacting with people, listening to things, seeing things that will blow other people's mind. Sometimes in the middle of a discussion, a video will come to me. That is what is important. Having the intimacy of an individual, but not in the same way that you are sharing it. So sometimes you give 70% and the person gives back 30%. Be thankful that you're getting back something. Sometimes you give out 90% and the person is giving you back 10%. Be thankful that you're getting back something. Sometimes you give out 40% and you're getting 60%. Be thankful that you're getting back something. Be always thankful that whoever you share your love and life with, that person appreciates you enough to share things with you, to give back that love and appreciation to you. And on that note, I would like to end tonight's broadcast and to thank you all for joining with me. If you have appreciated this program, please share it on your page. I'm going to post it up as soon as I'm done. For those of you who would like to see more of these programs, please contact me via my WhatsApp, 7401961. For those of you who need to visit the Adult Therapy Center, the number is 645-4543. For those of you who would like to contact me, either WhatsApp, Facebook, or whatever means, go ahead and do so. Let me know what you want to hear about. Let me know what topics you want me to touch on. Let me know what impact the program has had on your life, and we will make better programs as we go along. Thank you and good night.